I was doing a training recently, and there was a very successful mortgage broker that came up to me. At the end of the training, he said, Eric, I'm motivated in the moment. You've got me fired up, but how do I keep the motivation going for another week? I'm concerned that in a week it's going to wear off. I said, okay, well, what do you want to be motivated to do? He said, I want to make more money. I said, great. How much more money do you want to make? I want to make an extra $20,000 a month. I said, okay, that's a great goal. Why? What do you mean? Well, why do you want to make an extra $20,000 a month? He said, I don't know. What are you talking about? I said, well, what's your reason for making an extra $20,000? He said, I don't really have one. I said, well, that's why you're not making the extra $20,000. I said, what would you do if you had it? Well, I'd go on a trip, spend more time with my family, I'd buy a new car. I said, okay, great. Let's use the new car example, and I'll teach you something powerful about why reasons come first. He says, okay. I said, what kind of car would you buy? And I'm not a big car guy, so he was explaining this certain kind of Mercedes, and I was thinking it was going to be about $700 a month in payment. So I said, well, if you bought that certain kind of Mercedes, what's the payment a month? He said, oh, it's about $1,500 a month. I said, wow, that's a pretty fancy Mercedes. If you're into cars, then you know the car I'm talking about. So it's probably not going to be tax deductible for him unless he leases it through his company. So let's say he's not leasing it through his company. So it's actually, he's got to make an extra $2,500. $1,000 goes to taxes, and $1,000 goes to the car payment. So now he needs to make an extra $2,500 a month. I said to him, you go buy that car, your income will jump $2,500 a month because you now have a reason to make an extra $2,500. I'll give an example of how this works. My wife and I, as I've shared earlier in the program, our first son was born a few months ago, and when our son was born, we made a decision to buy a home. We were in a condo, and we want a little bit bigger place, nice 4-bedroom home. So we bought the home, and the house payment is $2,000 more than the mortgage payment from the condo. So now I have to make an extra $2,000 a month to make the monthly payment just to break even. And my wife stopped working because she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. She was making $3,000 a month. So now our income's $3,000 less, and our expenses have gone up by $2,000. Which, if you add the two together, comes to $5,000. And my income miraculously went up by $5,000. Reasons come first. Jim Rohn says it's easy to pay the price when the promise is clear. This is one of the most profound sentences I've ever come across in reading over 50,000 pages of success literature. It's easy to pay the price when the promise is clear. Sometimes in my public seminars, I'll ask salespeople, how many of you by a show of hands would make 25 calls a day if you were guaranteed to make a minimum of $100,000 in the next 12 months by a show of hands? And many people in the room will raise their hand. And I simply say this, many of you already have that deal. Many of you, if you simply made the 25 calls a day, you'd make over $100,000 in your income. A lot of people sit there and they say to themselves, you know what, he's right. But see, the difference is, if they were guaranteed to make the money, they'd take the action. But if they weren't guaranteed, they wouldn't. But the reality is, if you made the 25 calls, you would get the result. But they don't, because the promise isn't clear. They haven't languaged it yet in their mind, the value of making those calls. What are your reasons to succeed? Step 5, establish a definite date for the accomplishment of your goal and write it down. Step 6, create a list of action steps that need to be taken to accomplish your goal and write it down. Step 7, create an action plan from your list of action steps and write it down. Prioritize the list of action steps. Step 8, take action. Take action. Now, as I just said that, you might be thinking to yourself, I finally figured it out why I haven't been achieving my goals. I've been missing step 8. Step 8, take action. Step 9, do something every day. Do something every day. Step 10, view, visualize, and speak your goals daily. View, visualize, and speak your goals daily. Goal setting is the most widely endorsed personal development strategy in the world today. Consider this quote from Lou Holtz. He is the great football coach at South Carolina. Most people fail because they fail to understand what they're trying to do. Most people fail because they fail to understand what they're trying to do. What are you trying to do? What goals would you need to set in order to become a sales superstar? Write your goals down because you're 10 times more likely to accomplish your goal if it's in writing. One of the most powerful concepts around goal setting is something I learned from Mark Victor Hansen, and he said, Eric, interestingly enough, someone else out there has the goal to help you achieve your goal. Someone else out there has the goal to help you achieve your goal. If you have the goal to find the mate of your dreams, someone else has the goal to find the mate of their dreams. If you have the goal to recruit 10 people for your network marketing opportunity, there are 10 people out there that are looking for an opportunity like the one that you have. If you have a goal to buy a new home, someone has a goal to sell their home. Goals attract. Goals attract. We're going to now do a section on follow-up. And I'm going to share some information with you that will make you money. When it comes to following up, let's just say you meet with a prospect and they say, you know what, this sounds great. Hey, call me next Tuesday and I'll give you an answer. So, as agreed, you call them on Tuesday and you get the voicemail. You ever have that happen? So you leave a message. Hi, this is Eric. I was following up with you as you requested. It's Tuesday. Here's my cell phone. I'll be here. Give me a call. And you wait by your cell phone and wouldn't you know it, they don't call. So now you're in a dilemma. They said that they were interested, but now you've left them a message. And so what do? Do you call them again? Do you give up on it? If they're interested, wouldn't they call you? I mean, what do? So now you muster up the courage. 2 days pass. You call them again. Hi, this is Eric again. I followed up with you Tuesday. Something must have happened. Anyway, here's my number. Give me a call. Let's move forward. And then they don't call you. Okay, so now you muster up the courage one more time. You leave them the message again. Now you've left 3 messages. So now you're in this dilemma. What should you do? So here's what I say. It's kind of a joke, but I'm very serious. This will make you money. Follow up until they buy or die. Follow up until they buy or die. Here's what that means. You continue to follow up until you get a yes or a no. You take the sale to its conclusion. So many times people give up before they've gotten a yes or a no, and they've already done the work of the sales presentation. They've created rapport, and they just don't take it all the way through. To give you an indication of how important follow-up is, here's a funny story around follow-up. Denise Richards right now is a famous model and actress. She was just recently in the James Bond movie, and she was on the cover of Cosmopolitan. And I happened to see the magazine. I was reading the article, and she was talking about how she met her husband, Charlie Sheen. And she was revealing the story in there. And she said in the article, I found it so funny, she said that when she initially met Charlie, they had a mutual attraction, and she was waiting for Charlie to ask her out. And he never did. And she wanted to go out with him. And so she said right in the article, so I picked up the phone and I followed up with Charlie. And that's how we ended up going out on our first date. So if Denise Richards, model and actress, has to follow up, then we have to follow up as well. Make a decision today to improve your follow-up. Sales superstars follow up until they get a yes or a no. My largest client that I have right now probably will do about $40,000 in sales training with this company in the next 6 months. Initially, when I put the deal together, I followed up with this individual 16 times, 16 consecutive days. The 16th day, he picked up the phone. I about fell off my chair. I couldn't believe that he finally answered. Have you been getting my calls? Eric, of course I've been getting your calls. I said, great. Are you ready to move forward? He said, I appreciate your persistence. As a matter of fact, I am ready to move forward. And we scheduled the appointment that closed the deal. Now, that's an extreme example, and I'm not suggesting that you contact somebody 16 consecutive days. But what I am suggesting is you take the sale to its conclusion. How to get a mentor. I've mentioned a couple of times some of the powerful mentors that I've had the privilege of being personally trained by. Multimillionaire Dante Pirano personally worked with me. Sales superstar Tony Martinez has invested hundreds of hours in training and developing me. Marketing expert Ted Thomas, one of the most successful marketers in the world today, has spent countless hours personally training and developing my marketing skills. Dr. Donald Moyne, who's now my business partner, I believe the finest sales mind in the world today, has mentored me now for years. And I've had tremendous success at attracting mentors into my life. And I want to share with you some of the techniques that I've used to find these mentors. Think about how fast your sales career would skyrocket if you had somebody like the people that I just mentioned personally training and developing you. The biggest reason why people don't have mentors like the ones that I described is they never approach them and ask them to become their student. Here's what I've learned. The mentor has the goal to find a student. The mentor has the goal to find a student. Isn't that interesting? Goals attract. You can't be a mentor unless you have a student. You can't be a student unless you have a mentor. The mentor needs you as bad as you need them. Interesting. Second tip, be subservient. I am always subservient with my mentors. Do what you say. Be a person of action. Never challenge the mentor. Be willing to do the grunt work. Go the extra mile. And show your eagerness to learn. Now, those sound like simple things, but I have had many people approach me to mentor them. And they weren't subservient. They didn't follow through and do what they said that they were going to do. They challenged me. They weren't willing to do the grunt work. They didn't go the extra mile. They didn't show eagerness to learn. So I share that with you. There's some simple concepts there, but powerful. What's the value of having a sales superstar personally train and develop you? It could be worth millions to you. Here are some techniques and strategies to generate more leads. In selling, we need hot, fresh leads to contact people to get the sales that we want to accomplish. First tip, you have a baseline in the amount of leads that you currently generate. Your best leads are your previous customers. Many people are not effective at going back to their previous customers, either over the phone, via email, or with direct mail. Your best leads are going back to existing customers. Next way to generate leads is using the internet. You go, well, Eric, how do I do that? Think, how can you use the internet? Here's what I do. I have a free ebook on my website, 21 Ways to Close More Sales Now. Go to ericlofholm.com, ERICLOF like fabulous, HOLM like marvelous.com. Enter in your email address, and I will send you out that book electronically at no charge. Well, Eric, how did you know to do that? I saw another person who had an ebook, and I thought, wow, that would be a powerful strategy. Except many of the ebooks out there, people are charging for the ebook. I use it as a lead generator. I give it away for free. I've generated leads literally all over the world. Australia, Malaysia, Africa, Canada, Mexico. Powerful strategy to generate leads. Next strategy, get referrals. Referrals are phenomenal leads. Next strategy, buy lists of leads. We order lists from Dun & Bradstreet. We buy leads by the thousands. Next tip, ask yourself, who has my customer? Who already has a relationship with your customer that you could go to and create a relationship with them and ask them to introduce their customers to you? And the more you look around, the more you'll see this. Eddie Bauer, and I believe it's Ford. They did a strategic alliance where Eddie Bauer introduced Ford to their customers. Ford introduced Eddie Bauer to their customers. Go to McDonald's. Coca-Cola introduces Coca-Cola to McDonald's customers. McDonald's introduces Coca-Cola to their customers. You'll see this over and over and over in business today. Leverage the customers of others. Here's another strategy. You need a goal for the number of leads that you want to have. Many people, especially in network marketing, I'll say, well, how many leads do you have? And they go, well, I have about 20. Well, how many leads do you need to be successful? Well, I need at least 200. Have you ever set a goal to generate 200 leads? Well, no. So set the goal for the number of leads that you need. And the last strategy, very powerful. Who has control of the leads in your company? Let's say it's your sales manager. Create rapport with the sales manager and influence the sales manager. Use your selling skills to influence the sales manager to give you better quality leads. Very powerful strategy. Okay, here's some objection handling techniques. There are 7 to 12 common objections that come up in any industry. Here's some common ones. I have no time. I have no money. I'm already working with somebody. Someone won't let me do it. I'm not interested. I need to think about it. I'll need to get back to you. I already have it. I don't need it. Send me some information. You've all heard those, right? Okay, here's the question. When you receive that objection, how do you handle it? Okay, here's a better question. When a sales superstar gets one of those objections, how do they respond? If you take the actions of a sales superstar, you will become a sales superstar. Sales superstars have a variety of ways of handling those objections that come up. Here's a lot of the sales training that I've seen out there in the world today. I don't have the time. Okay, when you get the I don't have the time objection, here's what you say back. I don't have the money. Okay, when you get the I don't have the money objection, here's what you say back. Here's what I say. No, 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 no. I say, think. Think. When you get the objection, you need a variety of ways to respond based on your rapport with the prospect, based on what you know about the prospect. So I want you to think. So I'm going to give you several techniques of ways of handling the objection, but I'm not going to tell you which one to use. I want you to think about which one to use. Here's the first tip. You can answer an objection with a question. I don't have the money. Why don't you have the money? I don't have the money. When will you have the money? I don't have the money. Who do you know who would loan you the money? So one way of handling an objection is with a question. Another way of handling an objection is solving the problem. Girard is the world's greatest car salesperson. In cars, if you sell 20 cars a month at your dealership, you might be number one at that dealership. If you're not number one, you're in the top 2 or 3. If you sell 35 cars, you are the man at that dealership. Or the woman, because there's women that sell cars too. Girard sold 100 cars in a month. For 10 years, he averaged 100 cars a month. And he wrote a book called How to Sell Anything to Anybody. Now, if you're in car sales, that might be a good book to purchase. Do you know that there are some people in car sales that, number one, have never heard of Girard, or if they have, they've never taken the time and invested $7 to pick up his book in paperback. If you're in car sales, go get that book and get it today. And the book, How to Sell Anything to Anybody, can help anybody in professional selling. And some of the techniques that I'm sharing with you on this program, I've learned from Joe Girard, the world's greatest car salesperson. Well, one of the objections that Joe would get in anyone selling cars is their credit doesn't qualify. So Joe would influence them to find a cosigner. He would handle the objection by solving the problem. Who loves you and cares about you? Who would be willing to put the money up for you? Or who would be willing to put up the credit for you and cosign? And he would sell several cars with that strategy. Oftentimes, you can ignore the objection. Many objections do not need to be addressed before the prospect makes a buying decision. Next strategy is to isolate the objection. The objection is, I don't have the money. Other than the money, is there anything that would prevent us from doing business today? I don't have the time. Other than the time, is there anything that would prevent us from doing business today? That's called isolate the objection. Next strategy, bring out the objection. I don't have the money. Well, I'm sure you have some other concerns other than the money. So aside from the money, what other concerns do you have? I'm going to now share with you 30 plus powerful ideas that will make you more money, make you more sales, and turn you into a sales superstar. The first idea is to purchase a Rolodex at Staples and only keep your A category customers, leads, prospects, people. It's a Rolodex of your top people. $1 million Rolodex is what I call it. Next idea, create your own raving fans book full of testimonials of people who endorse your work. 3 is email prospecting. Okay, I do not mean spamming. I mean a personalized, customized email from me to you or from you to your prospect. My experience, I'm finding a trend. More and more people are preferring to do business via email. It's my preferred mode of communication. If you'd like to communicate with me, the best way to communicate with me, the easiest way for me to respond is via email. How could you use email prospecting in your business? Think, use that strategy. It will make you money. 4, dress for success. Look at your wardrobe as an investment in your business. People are observing what it is that you're wearing. And sometimes, and this isn't necessarily the way it should be, but it's just what's so. People make decisions based on what you're wearing. Dress for success. 5, sell something that you believe in. There's so many products and services out there. Find something that you truly believe in and sell it. It will make a difference in your sales. Sales superstars always believe in what they sell. Own the product that you sell. If you currently don't own it, go out and buy it. Your sales will increase. Point 7, make sales your profession, just like a doctor or an attorney. 8, leave your phone number when you call. This is so important. I always leave it twice. And if you're going to leave a long-winded message, which I don't encourage you to do, make sure that you start off the message with your phone number. I can't tell you how many times salespeople have called me and they don't leave their phone number. And now I have to work to find their phone number in my Rolodex or in my Act or in my emails or on their marketing literature or on their business card. Don't make your prospects work to call you back. A lot of times I'm calling from the road on a cell phone. I don't have my Act with me or my Rolodex with me. So you must leave your phone number on every phone call for the rest of your life. That will make you money. Follow up until they buy or die. Purchase a journal and use your journal on every sales meeting. Every time you sit down and listen to audio tapes, audio CDs, you read a success book. Put those powerful ideas in your journal. Next tip, put your goals on the bathroom mirror. One of my success mentors, Tony Martinez, in his bathroom, he wrote down, I will earn $35,000 in a month. And I walked out of the bathroom and I went up to him and I was like, Tony, what's up with the index card saying you're going to make $35,000 in a month? He said, well, Eric, every time I write something down on an index card and I put it up in my bathroom mirror, it happens. And I was like, oh. So put your goals down on the bathroom mirror. That's what Jan D. Guerrero did. And she went to $10,000 a month and then $32,000 in a single month. Plan your day on paper before the day starts. Plan your day on paper before the day starts. Powerful strategy. Turn your car into a university on wheels. Plan your week on Sunday. Spend 1 hour writing down your outcomes for the week. Do what you know. Next tip, if they won't schedule a full appointment with you, schedule a shorter meeting. Hire an assistant. By the way, it's never a good time to hire an assistant. You never financially are able to do it. You got to stretch. Put yourself in a position that demands that you succeed. Focus on activity, not results. Focus on activity, not results. Use scripts. Use a highlighter when reading magazines and books. Have a pen with you at all times. Have business cards with you at all times. How many times have you met somebody persuasive and powerful and you didn't have your business cards with you? Hire a sales coach. If you're interested in coaching, my organization has a coaching program. Go to www.vipsalescoaching.com. Go to 2 sales increasing seminars per year. Go on live sales calls with sales masters. Develop a list of probing questions. Develop a list of the responses to the common objections you hear. Have goals for the number of referrals you want to generate for each month. Have a sales library. Read success literature for 15 minutes every night. Bring your journal to every sales meeting and sales seminar you attend. Develop a list of your best-selling opportunities right now. Know who your 3 best prospects are at all times. I have one last story to share with you, which I believe is the most powerful story of the entire program. And then after I share that story with you, I want to share with you about some of the other programs and services that my company has put together to help support you in becoming a sales superstar. And this last story is about action. Because action, as I said earlier, is the number one key ingredient to all success and all achievement. And with action, anything is possible. And without action, nothing is possible. This story is about a trip that I took to Fiji. And it was a sales contest that I won back when I used to work with Anthony Robbins. And Tony put together this amazing trip. If you qualified for the trip, you got to bring your spouse with you for an all-expenses-paid trip to Fiji for 1 week at Tony's resort. And you got to hang out with Tony while you were there. And when my wife and I eloped, we didn't have the money for a honeymoon. And we were 7 years into our marriage, and we had never taken a honeymoon. And I was determined to win that trip. And I was fortunate enough to be one of the winners of that trip. And when I won, I began to visualize the trip, what the weather would be like, and the culture, and the people, and the beaches, and all those things. And I visualized that when I got there, Tony was going to pull me aside and pat me on the back and acknowledge me for how far I'd come. I mean, Eric, you used to work at McDonald's, and now you're one of my top salespeople. Congratulations. And this was my visualization. Now, in fairness to Tony, he didn't know that that was my visualization. So I got to Fiji, and a week came, and a week went, and Tony never once pulled me aside to pat me on the back, tell me what a great guy I am. So I was a little bit disappointed. And we were on the last day of the trip. There was about a half an hour left before the bus was going to take us to the airport and get on a plane, fly back to the United States. And there was Tony Robbins having lunch by himself. And I thought, you know what? I never said when during the week he was going to pull me aside and pat me on the back. I just said at some time during the week it was going to happen. So I figured, here it is. It's manifesting itself. I'm supposed to go over to Tony, and then he's going to acknowledge me. So I went over, and I walked up to Tony's table, and I said, Tony, is it okay if I sit down? I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. He said, sure, go ahead. What do you got? I said, well, Tony, I'm a young guy. I've got some big hopes and big dreams of things that I want to do with my life. Do you have any advice for me? He says, yeah, Eric, as a matter of fact, I do. I said, really? Well, what is it? He says, well, Eric, my advice to you is to give up on your dreams. And I looked at Tony, and I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. I'm thinking, this is Mr. Motivation? I was like, Tony, I don't understand. What do you mean? He said, well, Eric, it's very simple. For where you want to get in your life, it requires that you take massive